The Edmonton Elks, they get off to a hot start, but they can't stop the comeback by the Montreal Alouettes as the Als take down the Elks, who lose their first game in 4 games. They fall 21-17. This is the Green and Gold postgame show, live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is game day. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thanks to those tuning in on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, watching on YouTube, or from the past to those in the future listening to this on podcast. We appreciate you as well. We want your thoughts, 780-218-9999. That is the Paris Jewelers inbox. You can also jump into the nasty chat on YouTube. Lots to get to in this show where the Edmonton Elks came out with a really hot start. We're looking really good. The Als with a very cold first half, but then that third quarter that we talked about in the kickoff show, the Elks extend that to 5 straight games that they didn't score a point in the third quarter. I believe it's -2 offensive yards in the third quarter, and the Als come out in the second half, and they play a much better football. The Elks have 2 cracks, though, 2 possessions where they could win that football game. They don't do it. Boris Beatty, he missed another kick, so there's lots to get to on this show. Again, we will get into the nasty chat. We'll get into Paris Jewelers inbox. But, Jay, I'll bring you in first, and your thoughts on this game.
If I have to spend more time talking about kickers than I ever have in my life, I might be sick.
This is unacceptable. This is
ridiculous. This is the definition of the insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. How many games is this guy going to lose you? How many? If he makes that field goal, this is a different game.
Well, they had 2 more possessions. You just kick one field goal and you win.
They kill the clock and kick a game. Hopefully kick a game-winning field goal. Maybe they get a rouge. I don't know.
But he told you he fixed things about a month ago. Remember, he knew what he was doing wrong and he fixed it.
I don't believe him anymore.
Well, he's done it for 3 straight games, and that's why, I didn't believe it until I said it, unless he kept making kicks by Labor Day. But he doesn't. He keeps missing kicks. And I was a guy that was very critical of Dean Faithfull last year. I thought that they could do better and improve. They needed to go do that. But right now, Dean Faithfull gives you a better chance of winning football games than Boris Beatty. And if you want to make the playoffs, I'm sorry, Boris Beatty cannot remain on this roster. Because I also don't even know what message that sends to the rest of this team. That, yeah, if you don't do your job, we're going to keep you around still. This guy isn't getting it done. He has hurt this team time and time again, week in and week out almost. And it's not like you're having to go through tryouts to bring a kicker in. You have a guy on the roster. You have a guy that percentage-wise was better last year than Boris Beatty has been this year. And there is absolutely zero reason that Boris Beatty should remain on the Edmonton Elks roster moving forward, unless there's salary stuff that I'm just not aware of because we don't know everything about the CFL and their CBAs and stuff. Maybe he's locked in because he's a veteran and there's guaranteed money. But as long as there's none of that, he needs to go. Straight up.
It's just inexcusable. I said it the day that he kicked the ball out of bounds and cost them the game there. And okay, you come back, you do, but this is now getting to the point where it's what are you doing? At least bench the guy. Maybe don't cut him, but bench him.
Okay, put him on the practice roster, activate Dean Faithfull.
Activate Dean Faithfull and say, let's go. Because the alternative, you're 3 games. This Edmonton team is 3-8. That's 11 games. That's over a quarter of the games have been decided by one player whose job it is to kick the football either through the uprights or in the play in the field of play. This is just blatant. This is egregious. I don't understand how this can continue to happen. And it's not like, look, he's 20 of 26 on the year.
But those are 6 big misses.
But the misses are drastic.
It's not like he's missing 4 or 5 in a 31-21 win. And the 5th kick that he missed was a 49-yarder. They are in pressure moments. The Saskatchewan week 1,
missed a 41-yarder, and you said it.
42 for that week. Which 41 today?
The 41 tonight.
Tonight? I said it. Maybe I jinxed them. Maybe that's his problem. There's too many cheeks in the world.
Bush.
Well, I said right before he kicked it, I said if he misses it, he got to be cut. He can't be on this roster anymore. And then he missed it. He's got to go. But in Saskatchewan, it was a 42-yarder, I think it was game 1, to tie the football game. I think it was to tie. Missed it. Things changed a little bit after that. There's been just too many other misses. You pointed out to, see it, Dustin with a Y.
No swagger on
what
the
was
walkout.
the? Oh, that's there now. Look at that swagger as he's walking out.
Confident young man.
What was the game that it was the Ottawa game? Yeah, because then it cost Chris Jones his job largely. Ottawa game, he messes up. Tonight, he messes up. This is just unacceptable now at this point where it's, again, I'm okay. You're not going to be 100% as a kicker. It's very difficult to do, but you have to make, to me more so than even the percentages, is you have to make the kicks in the key moments.
Yeah.
And he's not doing that. And once again, he cost this team, like the Ottawa game at the very least, that was going overtime, so maybe they don't win that football game. But tonight, they had 2 more possessions. And of those 2 possessions, they got right there, right to the end zone. And they couldn't kick a field goal because look, here's the thing even. Joking about it. He didn't even get the rouge on that kick. So it was a 4-point football game. They couldn't even kick a field goal to tie it because he didn't even have the kick to get it through the end zone or anything like that, or they couldn't get there in coverage to give up where Montreal gives up the rouge, and they tied that football game. He misses where they could return it, and that's why it's a 4-point football game.
It's just, and, okay, emotional, deep breath in, deep breath out. As much as I'd like to pin this on the kicker, it's not just his fault. I mean,
I can't get mad at the defense.
Edmonton went into the halftime with a 17-6 to lead. They had 17 rushes for 112 yards. Everything was looking gravy. Then the dreaded third quarter, which was also aided by, and we haven't seen this of late, so I'm not going to make too much of a mention of it, but the Kai Gray unnecessary rough, I've got to cut.
Did you cut yourself? Yeah. How'd you cut yourself?
I was getting my pen in it. Like, sometimes like the the pen clip of a pen can...
You're just
leaking. I'm bleeding.
You're playing through it. You're playing through it.
Pretty
I'm
much
proud
my
of you.
flu game. It's on my middle finger.
Don't give the people a middle finger.
It's on my middle finger.
You didn't have to show them it. You didn't have to go up to them. But continue. You were going to say about the Kai Gray.
The Kai Gray unnecessary roughness with 6 minutes left in the third quarter was silly. They had just drawn a holding penalty, which was going to push Montreal back. Cody Fajardo scrambles, totally baits Kai Gray. Like, be better. Have a better football conscience. It's a quarterback. What are you a tough guy? You're going to hit him out of bounds? And like, that is so stupid. We haven't seen it of late, so I'll give that a pass. But that is so stupid. And then they go down, and that leads to a Montreal touchdown. 15 unanswered points by Montreal coming out of halftime or the end of the second half and into halftime. 5 plays of 30 or more yards, passing plays. That defensive secondary got a bit torched. Mm-hmm. I mean, all this being said...
But they only give up 15 points in the second half. 21 overall. You're a defense, you're going to give me up 21 points? I want that from my defense any day.
Yeah, any team would take that in the CFL. This is by far a large under in a 21-17. But can you blame this on MBT? Can you say Macbeth sucks? No.
I can't say he sucks, but I can say he's not good enough.
He had 2 touchdowns. But for some reason, they cannot win games with him at the helm.
Because he does just enough to look good on those stats, but when you watch the game, he's not good enough. His arm strength isn't there. He underthrows his receiver. I'll say this. Right now this season, his IQ a little bit's not there. It's 3rd and 10 from the 12 with the game on the line almost. That second last drive.
Game wasn't on the line. Game shouldn't have been on the line because
but it was.
Their kicker missed a makeable field goal.
It's 3rd and 10 from the 12, I believe it would have been. And he throws a 5-yard pass to a receiver that has a defender right there, and it's turnover on downs. Why are you making that throw? Like, I usually don't say things in this room. I was sitting here. You guys were all sitting over there.
I heard you.
And I immediately yelled in this bar, and I usually don't yell in this bar unless I'm betting on the ponies.
Unless you're slapping them ponies. Come on!
And I just went, what a stupid throw. It made zero sense. And then, like, you have 20-yard end zone. You need a touchdown. Or you at least need a first down, and you're throwing me a 5-yard ball? We have some messages in the I'll go into the nasty chat. Where was it? Adam, doesn't really matter when MBT continues to throw balls behind the runner in seconds after the play. Like, it's not always there. He doesn't hit his receivers in stride. He underthrows them. He makes these weird decisions like that 3rd and 10. He's not good enough to win you these games. Now, is he poor enough that we're sitting here saying he's the exact reason they lost? No. He had a pretty decent first half.
Yeah,
but
you're not saying
win.
that. You're not saying that in the first half.
But where is he in the second half? Where is he doing better things in the second half?
The third quarter is a problem.
He doesn't, and that's with Trey Ford too. Trey Ford had, they didn't score again. It's 5 straight games. Trey Ford a game and a half, but he doesn't have just that little extra something to win you games. He's just good enough to get you beat. And if that's one silver lining maybe for some people out there in this is that he can't be the starter once Trey is healthy.
I can't agree with you more. It pains me to say, but you're right. He just does enough to lose,
But he's not the reason I would say they lost tonight.
No, he wasn't the reason they lost.
Starts with beating.
Well, or D, and
I can't put it on. I'd put it more on
their secondary got torched.
I'd put it more on MBT than the defense.
You'd put the loss on MBT more than the defense?
Damn right. They gave up 21 points.
Man, I saw.
They only gave up 15 in the second half. Maybe if the offense moved the ball a little bit more in the second half, the defense wouldn't give up those points. Didn't get torched as much as they did.
How many 6 o'clock loggers did you have?
I had my one.
You're crazy talk. Like that. No. The defense, the secondary. I will say the front 7, the linebackers, the interior defensive line, they balled out. They did pretty darn good. The secondary got torched. What are you talking about? No.
They still only gave him 15 points.
MBT didn't throw an interception. He threw 2 touchdowns.
Instead, what happened in the third quarter, they went -2 in offensive yards. -2. They went backwards. If they were an entire quarter, they couldn't get positive yards.
It's a body of work that, hey, Tevin Jones catches that ball. We're not even talking about this right now. Think about that.
Okay.
And there was another ball that went through a receiver's hands at the very end of the game.
And part of the reason it's that close is because the defense only gives up 21 points. The defense didn't get torched for 30, 35 points in this game. The offense had it in their control. They only gave up 15 in the second half.
I preferred to blame the kicker. I'd rather go back to that.
It starts there. But I'm gonna put more on the offense in MBT than I am going to do it on the defense for that second half. Let's get into the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Shaggy in St. Albert, Elks showed nothing in the second half. If nothing else, this should make Ford start when healthy. MBT, nothing but empty calories. MBT's not a driver for Elks wins, just a coincidental passenger. He was a waste of money, not Fred. Beatty may have cost the game, but no points in the second half isn't just the kicker. Paul LaPolice was calling the Montreal defense doing the same twist play when the Elks were second and long, and MBT gets sacked multiple times. How many times before someone other than LaPolice notices it on the Elks? That also came in, I think, in the nasty chat where somebody was mentioning that, he sent that was the same person, not Fred. He did in both of those. Stampater, long play, boys. Disappointing loss, but opens door for Trey Ford to start Labor Day because there's no way in hell he was playing if MBT wins that game. We have Stu Pedasso. This is all on MBT, no one else. Replace him with anyone because they can't be any worse. And Boris Beatty deserves a bunch of blame with this one tonight. Just because, again, just way too many games where it comes down to his kick in key moments and he misses.
Wow,
the critical moments and he misses.
Georgia Satellite's in on the nasty chat. Says some respect for the Owls, too. I mean, this is a 9-1 team that is dominating the East that, and I hate to say it, but this Edmonton team let this game slide away again. This was a winnable game, and they let it go out of the... So, do I blame MBT? No. If you're blaming MBT, you're brainwashed by Trey Ford.
Do you know what this is showing, though?
I get it. Let me finish.
Go for it.
I get it. Trey Ford is the leader. Trey Ford is the guy. Trey Ford is going to be the guy who's going to take this team and deliver wins. I get it. So slow down. What I'm saying is McLeod Bethel Thompson did not cost the double E this game. He did not. The secondary got torched. Your special teams did not show up. We've talked about facets ad nauseum on this show. 2 of the 3 facets did not play mediocre or better football. What did I say in the kickoff show? MBT doesn't have to be a world beater. He just has to play mediocre or better. The defense has to show up. Special teams show up. Well, that didn't happen. MBT did what he's supposed to do.
You can't go that much against the defense and not put any blame on MBT.
What did MBT... Tell me exactly what he did wrong. I mean,
he hasn't completed a deep pass. He has poor decision making. He has no arm throw. He's underthrowing his receivers. He's not getting things done. The defense put up 21 points. I don't know how we could rip on the defense so much more than MBT. If you want to say neither are going to get the blame, it's all BT. I can live with that. I can't live with we could blame the defense completely here and say how poor they were, but we can't say anything bad about MBT because he was all right tonight.
I didn't say that. I said what I said in the kickoff show was that he had to be mediocre or slightly above mediocre. I wasn't expecting a world beater MBT because he's not that guy. That's not MBT. That's not who he is. He's not going to go out and get you 350 yards, 4 tutties, and no interceptions and just deliver the ball around. That's not him.
But what more did you want from the defense?
To not get torched for 5 plays over 30 yards.
Okay, but they gave up 21 points.
So
that's
what?
It. Well, because that's the thing that matters. That's how we win and lose games is you look at what the points were, and they only gave up 21. And like the Montreal, if we want to go to Georgia Satellite, I'm going to give credit to Montreal here. They're the number 1 team in the Canadian Football League. They've got a great receiver in Austin Mack, a speaker. They've got Rambo. They've got a great running back in Walter Fletcher, and they have a great quarterback in Cody Fajardo, who's probably right now the best quarterback in the Canadian Football League with Vernon Adams hurt and coming down a little bit. And they gave up only 21 points to that offense. Like, if we went into this game saying the defense is only going to give up 21 points, would we sit here and said that that's terrible, that's awful?
Do you think Cody Fajardo was a world beater tonight?
In the second half, he was really good, yeah.
MBT put the ball in Tevin Jones's hands.
With the defender right there. The defender could have picked that off. And
that is not, don't even say that. You play professional football, catch the ball when it touches your hands.
Okay,
in the end zone.
Closer.
For the game winning
I'd have
touchdown.
to look closer if it was tipped because it looked like it might have been touched.
Problem? Was that an underthrown ball?
Yes, it was.
No, it
was an underthrown ball. If he hits Tevin Jones a little further, the defender can't make a play on that. How's the defender able to get there and make a play before Tevin Jones is able to make a play on that ball?
I don't even know what to say. Did you watch the replay?
Yes.
Yeah.
How is the defender getting there?
It went over the defender's fingertips and to Tevin Jones's hands. Like, what are we doing?
Georgia Satellite, NT tipped the ball.
No, he didn't. Not that I saw. Maybe he did. Oh. I didn't see it.
That's what I saw. I saw a tip, and I saw a defender having a better chance of that ball first before Tevin Jones did. And so if you throw that ball underthrown, that's what happens. You hit your receiver, it goes well past, and he stretches out the other way to catch that football. You put it in a spot that only your receiver could make the play.
Look. All I'm saying is that
he did touch it. More people saying he touched it.
All right.
Underthrown football.
Underthrown football. Okay. What do I know? Nothing. Went through his hands.
Sure.
Hit his hands. But ask anybody that's ever played a game of football. Have you? Have you ever played a game of football? Anybody that's ever played football, that ball touches your hands, you catch it. End of story.
So the quarterback, nothing on the quarterback. Doesn't have to underthrown ball. It's all cool.
I don't know why you have such a drive to say that MVP lost them this game.
I'm not saying he lost them the game. I'm saying
he put the ball where he should have been.
I'm clearly saying BD is the reason. I put it on him. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to put it higher on the defense that gave up 21 points against the best team in the Canadian Football League, more than a receiver that's being paid $500,000, and he's constantly underthrowing his receivers, throwing into double, triple coverages, and not getting wins.
Maddie, I said that I don't think he's not the guy. I get it. But he did enough tonight to win that game.
So did the defense then. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
your 21 points is more than enough to win a football game.
yeah, I agree. I would agree with that.
But you're also then saying that I don't know what I'm talking about here myself, and that it's the defense was awful today.
No, I said you don't know what you're talking about, because when a ball hits a receiver's hands, you should catch it. That's it.
Fair. And then I'm not going to try to take that off Tevin Jones, but MBT doesn't get off the hook on that one for me either, because the Montreal Alouette had the first play at it. And while I've never played football like you have, I would think that also that might impact a receiver, that when there's a defender running in your sight line, it might impact the way you're going with that football. And if it gets tipped, it's a little harder to catch that football in less than a fraction of a second.
Yeah, I mean, he whiffed on it.
But he tipped it potentially.
We're talking Kevin Mitchell draw or overthrow, Kevin Mitchell drop earlier in the season. Like, this is the same kind of thing. I just don't know why it's being looked at so differently. But anyways, we'll agree to disagree on that, I suppose.
Trainer Mark, the defense didn't score a point in the second half. How is this loss on the defense? Or the offense didn't score a point in the second half. How is this loss on the defense? Scalding Gord, Al's had a QB returning from injury and definitely showed rust. Game timing wasn't great for Fajardo. That made the D look better. I'll say this, for my keys to the game, it was kind of 2-1. I said take advantage of the fact that Cody Fajardo is coming low and get that lead. They did that, but then pointed out, we both said afterward, third quarter, and they weren't able to get that done. And that's a big concern, because that's 5 straight games. This team, at least through 4 of those, have played well through the first half as well.
Yep.
And have come out, and for whatever reason, they don't follow what they were doing in that first half as the third quarter comes. And they just, I wish I had some sort of explanation or words to describe what we're seeing in this third quarter, where, and this is even with Trey Ford out there, they just don't get anything done.
Well, I don't know if maybe they're having naps at halftime. Maybe there's not enough orange slices. I don't know, but something's amiss here, because they have not delivered in the third quarter for what, the past 3-4 games?
Well, 5 games they haven't scored a point in the third quarter.
There's something there. It's kind of the same as when they were off to their 0-7 start. There was just something was missing, something was not right, and I mean, hey, maybe we're just really overlooking everything, and we're just not giving enough credit to the Trey Ford factor, where that guy does something for that team, sparks them, has the words. I don't know, but I mean, you can say all you want about, tonight's game. Who's to blame? MBT. Okay, you can have that argument. The defense. All right. I mean, they did only give up 21 points to the Alouettes. I do understand that. But it could have been a lot better had they managed the wide, the long plays. They just got beat a lot. 5 times, to be precise. That team did everything they needed to do to win the ball game. Multiple times. But, alas, we sit here looking at a 21-17 victory for now.
Shutout in the second half.
The 10-1 Montreal Alouettes. And, yeah, they did get shut out in the second half.
Because the kicker missed an
and the receiver dropped the ball.
An underthrown ball that was tipped.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
The Nasties are telling me that they saw it tipped and it was underthrown as well, so. Georgia Satellite, Al's D had to answer in adjustment to Elks 0 in second half. Elks should have run more of an RPO in the second half. Just trying to see if there's because there's a lot on MBT still here. I will say this at the very least. They ran the ball. They did try to run the ball again.
They didn't try.
They succeeded at it. Yeah, they had 22 carries between their running backs and Kevin Brown and Justin Rankin. Rankin didn't get going as well as he's had in past games. He only had 19 yards on those 6 carries. But Kevin Brown, over 100 yards, getting 105. No receiver caught the ball, though, out of the backfield. But it's nice to see that this run game has now at least continued for 4 straight games.
And they're committing to it. I was starting to worry. I made a note here. At halftime, they had 17 rushes for 112 yards. At the end of the third quarter, they had 18 rushes for 115 yards. At the end of the third quarter. They rushed the ball once in the third quarter.
They just always go away from what they do well.
They had 4 possessions. Like, wake up. What is that? You know, and then they got back, and they ended up rushing in the fourth quarter to make it up to, it was 22 rushes. So that's problematic. That's something that is obviously in the game plan, or it's somewhere in Jarius Jackson's head where he's saying, okay, we are going to not run the ball in the third quarter, or we're going to, I don't know. And you're up. It worked for you in the first half. 112 yards on 17 rushes, and you're up 17-6. And you completely go away from it. Why?
It's like they think that because it worked, the other team's going to adjust for this, so we got to change it up.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
They're not going to figure out what we're doing, and we got to be ahead of the curve of what they adjust to. And the other team just works on improving themselves and goes, okay, you want to move to something that's not working? Cool, we're good with that. Like, I don't know. I really don't understand how you could just not keep playing the same way, or 5 straight weeks, whatever adjustments you make have been the absolute worst adjustments you can make. I don't know how they're making their decisions in the halftime. If they're spinning a wheel, maybe throw a darts now instead. I don't know. Whatever it is, and how they're figuring out what adjustments they want to make, they have not worked. And just stick with what you've done and maybe adjust on the fly maybe moving forward. That's one thing I would say.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is purely hypothetical. If Trey Ford's played from start to finish tonight in Montreal, does Edmonton win that game?
Yes, because he would have ran for a touchdown at the end of the first half and not come short.
That's it?
I also just think that he's a better quarterback right now than McLeod Bethel-Thompson overall.
Yeah.
I think what I've seen this season is he's a better quarterback.
As much as I like to disagree with you, I can't disagree with you on that. Now, let's rewind here a bit. Let's go back to what you were thinking earlier in the game. Like, oh no, if MBT goes and delivers this win, and Trey Ford is healthy going into the Labor Day, how do you decide who's going to play? How do you pull out MBT and insert Trey Ford? So part of me thinks you wanted this loss.
No, because if you had the right coaching staff, well, I don't want losses. This was a scheduled loss for me.
Really?
This is a scheduled loss for me.
Yeah, I know.
I had that
earlier.
But if you had a coaching staff that right now knows what they're doing, and I'll look at the Montreal Alouettes for that, you put back the quarterback who's your starter. Cody Fajardo got hurt. Davis Alexander came in. They kept winning football games. Cody Fajardo goes back in when healthy. Edmonton, I don't trust this coaching staff. I think they will do everything in their power to keep MBT out there. That if they had won this game, they were sticking with MBT. And it's gonna take a lot for, and it wouldn't even be if they won this one. I don't think even a loss on Labor Day would necessarily put in Trey Ford. I think this coaching staff really likes Trey Ford or McLeod Bethel-Thompson. I don't think they're big on Trey Ford. I think we've seen that this season with Jarius Jackson. I don't even have to go to Chris Jones. I think with Jarius Jackson, we saw that how reluctant he was to go to Trey Ford in that Hamilton game here in Edmonton.
Yeah.
That they will do anything they can to use as their advantage to go to MBT. But I still would have taken a win for this team to a degree. But we've gotten some of the messages in the Nasty Chat that people are saying, like, what was it, Stamphater had it? Yeah, long play, boys. Disappointing loss, but opens door for Trey Ford to start Labor Day. If he's fully healthy, he needs to start. I don't believe in players losing their job to injury for the most part. I think there are exceptions to that. I don't think this situation would be an exception to that. This is a situation where even if they won a few games, I would go back to Trey Ford because I think he gives you a better chance of winning, even if MBT won tonight. If Boris Beatty hit his kick, we could be talking about MBT winning. I would go to Trey Ford because also Larry Thompson has this team, and he's trying to build winners. Or he's trying to get fans to the stands. And Trey Ford does that. MBT does not.
Now, I saw some comments on the Nasty Chat about, I don't get it. What is up with the receivers? What is up with MBT when, it seems like, I guess the general consensus is that it seems like the receivers are more invigorated and excited, ready to go when Trey Ford is playing. I will say this, and I'll take you back. I highlighted a play here that happened in the third quarter. Cody Fajardo, deep right to Rambo. And that one was almost a broken play, and he hucked it up. Super high. The defender got lost, and then it was an easy catch for the receiver. I find that Trey Ford puts a lot more air under the ball. He lofts that ball a lot higher, which it doesn't sound like, like with MBT, a lot of his are coming in. That's why you could say if that was tipped, which I didn't see, so forgive me, but if that was tipped, well, that's coming in at a lower angle. But with Trey Ford putting the ball up higher, even if it's an underthrown ball or the perfect pass, if it's a perfect pass, it's a perfect pass. It's going to land right in the breadbasket. If it's an underthrown ball, that is the worst position to be in as a defensive back. Having a one-on-one coverage on the outside, heck, up the middle, and you have an underthrown football because the defender is watching you. The receiver is watching the ball. So it's so easy for the receiver to come back to that ball and catch it and slip the defensive back. I think with Trey Ford, with his throwing, the way he throws the ball is at a different – it's hard to say. I guess it's at a different pitch than McLeod Bethel Thompson. And I believe it gives his receivers a lot more chance to be athletic and make the play. Because don't forget, the receiver's the one looking back at the ball. The defensive back's looking at the receiver. Defensive back, the ball's coming from behind his head. So he can't always see what's going on. So there's a complete advantage to having an underthrown ball or a ball in which the receiver can be athletic. So maybe that's something that, why does Trey Ford complete all these out of the pocket, rolling around, deep throws to his receivers? Could be something to be said about that. But, I mean, I truly think for hardcore Edmonton fans, this might have been the result you wanted.
Well, this is
in the long term.
For the war, not the battle. You lost the battle, but you might have won the war.
That's right.
Where you lose this football game, but Trey Ford comes on Labor Day and starts on Labor Day. That's what you might have here, because in the end, it's not even a shot at McLeod Bethel Thompson. It was the guy was injured. You came in. We're just going back to the guy who got hurt. In that sense, yes, but I don't even think it should fully come. Dusty's comment?
Yeah.
Before I do that, Not Fred did say MBT has just said after the game that their iPads on the sidelines were down in the third quarter, so no idea what Montreal was doing in the defense to stop them. Not Fred adds, don't they have coaches in the booth? Where Dusty adds, have the iPads gone down for the last 5 third quarters? Dusty also said Beatty has to be cut, right? And to your point, maybe not even fully cut, but a practice roster.
Just put him on the bench. Get out of here.
Dean Faithful comes in on Labor Day.
I want to see Boris Beatty, Twitter clips of him kicking 50-yard bombs when they're in Montreal rather than Dean Faithful.
I just had, here it is. That was Dean Faithful last year was 78.6%. He was 22 of 28. He missed 6 field goals in the season last year.
Well, Beatty's 20 of 26 right now.
So you've added this week? Because it was 17 of 23 going into tonight. So what did you have it as?
20 of 26.
So he's already missed the 6. He has to make his next 2 this season to be where Dean Faithful was last year. He's being paid more than Dean Faithful. I don't know the cap circumstances. I don't know what you get, but he can't be kicking next week. It's now at a point where it's even just the message to the locker room where it's if you mess up, that's okay. We're going to keep playing you. There needs to be some sort of consequence. And that could be tough with a kicker at times because we're going to get another kicker. This isn't the NFL where you can just fly in 4 kickers and do tryouts. We get that every so often where that team has a kicker that does bad and then we hear the tryouts coming. But it's not even like the Elks have to go looking for someone. He's on their roster as is. It's a very quick elevation to try to fix this kicking game because it costs them too many games this season.
Did MBT really say that? Did he really in a post-game interview?
That was in the nasty chat, so I'm not listening to TSN right now.
Clearly.
I sometimes pump it into my left ear.
Yeah, right. If he said that, that is like...
Well, look,
cut him.
I've never played football, but...
That's terrible. What are you doing?
I could imagine that is difficult to deal with. There is an advantage if you don't have your iPad. The other team has the iPad. I get that. To Dusty's point, it doesn't go back for 5 games, though.
That's brutal. That's just an excuse, man. Oh, that's terrible. I don't know. That's crazy.
We'll go through the stats here quickly. Here on this is the Green and Gold post-game show. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you here live on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports. The Owls defeat the Elks 21-17. We're live at Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. I don't know if I said that. I sometimes have very short-term memory. We're just off Fort Road, where every day is game day. We're here for every game pre- and post-game. Next one we'll be here for is the Monday for Labor Day, which is, I think, the daily specials loaded burger that day, I think. And you could get that Ukrainian platter.
Oh, yeah.
Stats for today's game. MBT, 21 of 33, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also rushed the ball 2 times for 12 yards. Kevin Brown, 16 carries for 105 yards in his return to the lineup from injury. Justin Rankin, 6 carries for 19 yards, whereas Dakota Prukop, 3 carries for 7 yards. They actually did that weird. They brought him in. You were the one who's like, is that Dakota Prukop? And they brought him in on like a first and 10 play in the red zone. It worked out a little bit. He rushed the ball. It was interesting. I will say this. It's interesting that they could go do that now, but earlier in the season they couldn't do that with Trey Ford and MBT. And that's all I wanted at the start of the season.
That's all anybody wanted.
Exactly. It could have worked for everyone. Everyone would have been happy. So Prukop came in for that, and it largely worked. Tevin Jones, 5 catches for 67 yards, but that was on 7 targets, so one of those targets leading to a big, heated conversation on this post-game show. Mayala, 5 catches for 35 yards. Dylan Mitchell, 4 for 42. Gittins Jr., 4 for 30, plus a touchdown. Eugene Lewis, 3 for 26, and a touchdown. Defensively, Anderson leading the way with 8 tackles. He also had 1 on special teams. They just had 1 sack. Brown getting 2. Cody Fajardo, while Bynum had the interception for the Edmonton Elks. Boris Beatty, 1 of 2 kicking. He made a 19. We don't need to go again fully into that missed kick. He had 2 extra points. Cody Fajardo, in his return from injury, 22 of 34, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He rushed the ball twice for 8 yards. Walter Fletcher, 11 carries for 54 yards. He also caught the ball 6 times for 45 yards. Speaker, 5 catches for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bahar, 4 catches for 48 yards. Rambo, 3 catches for 95 yards. Austin Mack in his return, he had 8 targets. Only 3 catches for 32 yards. They went to him. They targeted him, but he could only haul the ball in 3 times. Beverett, 10 tackles. He led the way. Sankey with 8. They had got to MBT twice and no interceptions. Their kicker, Maltos, he was perfect, 3 for 3. Must be nice. But he didn't kick an extra point tonight. Here's your stats of today's game. This text coming in, is that our read?
That's our read.
Faithful has no power. They turned down field goal tries last year because of his limited range. Beatty isn't good enough, but Faithful is not the answer. Here's what I'll say to that, Reed, is I agree that they did turn away from 40 yards. They didn't go to him. But in the second half of the season, they started kicking those field goals with him, and he wasn't too bad with them. That I would rather give him the shot this season than going with Boris Beatty. If we look at, I don't know
at this point, I think it's more of a message you're sending to your team.
Well, but they're also in that playoff race. They're trying to win.
I know, but you cannot deal and be okay with mediocrity, especially at a highly specialized position like kicker.
He at Labor Day he kicked a 56-yarder. On Labor Day, the rematch, he kicked a 42-yarder. In the last game of the season, he kicked a 43-yarder. His leg improved. He did kick a 45. You're not kicking a 50-yarder with Dean Faithful, although he has those Twitter videos and he's doing it right now on the field, but that's in practice. And that's not in game atmosphere, game mode. I would rather take the shot with Dean Faithful right now on a 45-yard field goal than Boris Beatty. That's just the thing.
Well, and I will tell you.
And there's cap implications. If there is, I'd rather save the money too in this.
Yeah, it is. It's not even close. The general. I mean, you should put up a poll. Who starts for the Double E next in Labor Day as the kicker?
MBT apparently said it to Ched after the game. About the pass.
I don't care if they did go down. Don't disclose that.
Are
There's
we
no
asking?
point in doing that. Yeah, who's the starting kicker for the Double E in Labor Day? Beatty or Faithful? I'm pretty sure you're going to get a very one-sided answer on this, and it's with good reason.
I'll put Beatty first too.
Do it. This is a specialized position.
Those two L's.
I mean, I said it earlier in the year.
Polls live.
That
if you're on
he
YouTube,
said that he was hitting it in the wrong part of his foot. Okay? You get one of those a year where you could say, well, shoot, I've sucked because I'm kicking it with the wrong side of my foot, albeit I've been using that same foot for my whole professional football career. But okay, Boris, we'll give you that. Now, I don't know what the excuse is going to be, but there needs to be a message sent to the team that this is not okay. Everything's been trending in the right direction. Team's looking up. Defense, okay, they're playing better. But this one facet, which should...
Is this who should kick or who will kick? For the poll question. I don't know if I could edit this. But
should.
Lori's asking.
Well, you said who is a starting kicker.
Yeah, but are people voting who they think should be or who will it be?
Who they think it should be.
Okay, who do you think should be the kicker?
That's what
Who should be the kicker, Lori?
Yeah, I mean, it's resounding. It's not even close. And it probably will only get further apart.
Oh, Steven, my specs are right here. I don't need them. I only need them to look at distance.
I know, but Lori Plant in the Nasty Chat, that's a great point. Because should
Which
be
part?
Faithful, will be Beatty. Like, what's going on here? You cannot allow this to happen and let a player that is not delivering in the crucial times. We're not talking about a missed, I mean, I guess it doesn't, but I mean, it does matter because it's critical points. You're not talking about a game where they were up, 17-6 at halftime and he missed a field goal to go up 20-6. No, you're talking about at the end of the game where now this takes it to a 1-point game. And oh my gosh, the world is different for the Edmonton Elks looking at that, going down, with that last second drive instead of having to, it's inexcusable. Because now this is, 3 times? That is solely, not solely, it's a team game, I get it. But the big play, the talking point, the thing that everybody's chiming in on, the reason we have a poll up about a kicker, is because of this. So is it going to change, or is this just the way it's going to be?
So we missed against Saskatchewan. I don't know if we put that fully on him. There's the Ottawa game. He missed the field goal, plus he had that poor kickoff.
The one that went out of bounds that led to them getting in field goal range?
The next week he missed 3 field goals against Ottawa. What had happened in that game? They lost 20-14, so they would have won that football game. I could guarantee, if he made his kicks, you could guarantee 2 of 3 games, or 2 games he cost them, today and that Ottawa game. The kickoff out of bounds I won't put fully, because I'd have to go back on that field goal and see when that was.
Well, the defense gave up about a 25-yard pass play.
Yeah, but if it goes out of bounds, they were still going to overtime. That's where it's maybe they win that football game, so I can't fully put him on that just yet. So there's at least 2, though.
Fair enough.
Well, I could say today in that second Ottawa game, which if the Elks, if they won these 2 games, that means they'd have 5 wins on the season, and they would be sitting in a tied spot with Winnipeg and BC for second in the CFL West and a point back of Saskatchewan if they had made won those 2 games if Boris Beatty does his job. So just give me one of those. Kickers miss. Give me one of those.
Yeah, different season, right? Different outlook.
That's, when we're talking about 11 games, and to say one player specifically cost you, we can say cost you 2 games. But we could also be like, well, he also really didn't help the team in 2 or 3 more games.
That's right.
That's almost 50% of the season.
In crucial moments.
Yes.
Yeah. It's drastic. It's a number we should not talk about this. I'm sorry. If you did this one time in the NFL, you're out. You're gone. Who? Yeah, we'll get the next guy up that can nail 62-yard field goals, because there's a bunch of them. I don't understand why they can't just cut ties here, or at least send a message and put him on the bench.
I could understand for a period of time because he was the big free agent acquisition, and there could be you don't want to, players talk, players see things, and maybe they go, well, if I sign, like maybe some people would look differently on Edmonton or something. I could see that because he was one of the big free agent signings or something. But now it's half a season.
Yeah.
It's actually over half a season. And again, you got a kicker on the roster that you've kept around. Why did you keep Dean Faithfull around? Like, that's the other part of this. You could have just let him walk and go away. Why did you keep him around if you're not going to get into this situation? Tales from the Shop in the Nasty Chat. I just actually could disagree a little bit more with this. This whole house is on fire, has been for a while. Starts from the top down. It's not about a kicker. It's not about the QB starts. It's not about, quote, we need a running back, we need a wide receiver. This house isn't on fire. Like, the Elks have won 3 of their last 4 football games. They've lost 2 games to the best team in the Canadian Football League by a combined 7 points in those 2 games. They lost the first game to Montreal by 3 points. They lost today by 4 points. And the Elks could have won this football game. I think we're looking at this a little bit more that the Elks lost this as opposed to the Owls beating them. And that's 100%. A big thing to deal with. So
that's what we talked about the first 7 weeks.
This house isn't on fire. There's actually a lot of good positives. This September is, though, the really show me with a lot about this team. Because you got Calgary, Calgary, Winnipeg, Winnipeg. They're the teams the CFL West is tight. You go win 3 or 4 of those. I'll say right now I have a good feeling that the Elks will probably be sitting at least 3rd in the West if they go win 3 of the next 4. I think math-wise and all that would state that they're probably going to be right there in 3 or 4 or something like that. Or they'll be right in that playoff thick of things going into October. With a playoff race into October, there's going to be a lot to discuss. But you go get swept to Calgary, you go get swept to Winnipeg or something, like you drop 3 of the next 4, then yeah, I could go back to maybe the little house is a little bit more on fire. But they have won 3 of their last 4. And they just challenged the best team in the Canadian Football League out in Montreal really well. So I won't go at all saying this house is on fire. He also adds this team won't win 5 games this year.
You watch your mouth.
Well, it's also they need to win 2 games to get to 5, 3 to pass it, 4 to get Jay his money.
Give him my money. Yeah, you know what, and maybe that's lost in all of this because they did just lose to the league-leading Montreal Alouettes, who were 9-1, now 10-1. A game that nobody gave them a shot.
The odds maker said it's +7.
Yeah.
They
Wrong.
covered. I think that's the only thing right in our CFL picks between us and WST this week.
I've been choosing Edmonton all year, but it is something to be said, though. I mean, they did put up a fight against the best team in the CFL. But they should have won.
You got 2 right this week. I got 1.
Well, that's good. I gained a game on you.
Everyone picked Winnipeg to cover 10 points. You already have the lead on me.
I know. I picked up another one.
Yeah, so you're up 2 on me.
But yeah, it's hard to just blame this and pin this on one thing. Okay, it's easy to blame it
tonight.
Yeah, I know. It's easy to blame it on Beatty. It's easy to blame it on McLeod, Bethel Thompson. It's easy to
say defense might as well.
You know what?
Or secondary.
I didn't say defense. I said the secondary. I thought the defensive front seven played excellent. I thought the secondary gave up too many big plays. That's that. And that's a fact.
Well, I know that's why I'm just adding it to that list.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, this team is better when Trey Ford is under center. Now, is Trey Ford even going to be healthy for Labor Day? That's the question. Now, I will say this. Little inside scoop here. We were at West Edmonton Mall Thursday and Friday. Yes, that's right. We stayed overnight at Fantasyland Hotel. We had a package purchased for us as a birthday gift for my daughter, so we stayed in the Dino Suite. It was a lovely suite. Lots of velociraptors. Anyways, in walking around the mall, we were at, we saw this huge lineup. It was for the Chick-fil-A, the brand new Chick-fil-A that opened up in West Edmonton Mall. And lo and behold, who was in the lineup?
Bar Speedy.
Trey Ford.
Sorry.
And my daughter's like, Dad, is that? And I'm like, yeah, I think that's Trey Ford. I said, do you want to go get your picture with him? Because, they look up to Trey Ford. They think he's, which is crazy, right? My daughters, 12, 10, 8, are looking at Trey Ford and saying, oh, that guy's a superstar, which I think is awesome.
Because they're watching this.
No. I don't. They bet
they're following the CFL.
They should be. Well, yes, they're obviously very
because
into
of like the green and gold. I'm not saying that.
My daughter, my oldest daughter, can't stand McLeod Bethel Thompson. She's on the team.
Somebody's not on the glue crew.
Yeah, no, she's not. She's out of the will. But I must say that Trey looked pretty limber when he was sitting there chatting with his buddies. He had a couple people come up. He's putting arms around. I don't think he's wincing in pain with his ribs.
Was he at Chick-fil-A or was he just at the mall?
He was in the lineup for Chick-fil-A.
I don't get the standing in line for something.
Dude,
wait a month and you'll get in without standing in line.
Wait a week.
It's been a week already.
Wait another week. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to run out of chicken. I get it. I can understand it on day one because sometimes they'll give you free things. I could get it, I guess. If you want free things, you want to waste 3 hours of your life to get that, sure, go for it. I don't get the waiting now. Like, just go eat something else from the mall and come back a month later and you'll be fine. That's what I just don't understand. I'm sorry. I just had to go off on that one a little bit. Trey was limited Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at practice. The Elks would probably not practice tomorrow. They probably wouldn't practice Tuesday. They probably won't practice Wednesday, I would guess. They'll practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
No, they're practicing Wednesday.
You think they'll do 4 days of practice?
Are they allowed to do 4 days?
Of actual on-field.
On-field? Yeah.
I don't know if you would get 4 because they get that extended, like Labor Day is not till Monday, so they get a week and a day before the game. Sunday's the walkthrough. So I can't recall what it was last year. So we'll see. But he has been limited. I think last week he was, here it is. Last week was limited twice. Let's see actually what's the longest. Injury reports are only 3 days for the week. So maybe they only actually have to practice, or maybe there's, I don't know if they're allowed to do a fourth, but the injury report's only 3 days. So we won't, so even with this, that means it'll be Saturday, Friday, Thursday. Thursday will be the first injury report, I'm guessing.
But this is only now, this will be the week 3, right?
Of what?
Of his injury?
We're going into the 3rd week of it.
Yeah.
But it was week to week.
I know, but if it is what, whether it's a fracture or...
I think we would have heard it was a fracture.
Okay.
I think some insider would... Farhan or Naylor would have gotten that by now. Because I think the coaching staff would want that out there, too, to get people... And the organization want that out there to get people understanding MBT is going to be the player. MBT is going to be the quarterback. And it's because Trey is going to be out for a little bit here.
So then it's an intercostal muscle strain.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. So that's 2 to 4 weeks.
3 to 7 to heal for a moderate sprain, according to medicalnewstoday.com.
Yeah.
I'm big on the medicalnewstoday.com website. Dr. Google. Like, I just love how we all ever since Google has come out that we're all doctors and we all know what the hell we're talking about. I have had this injury. I could say that. It took me a while. But I didn't have to go play quarterback.
Yeah, it's tough too because that's a real sensitive spot, especially in your throwing action, right? You're stretching those muscles.
I guess it also depends which one it was. I had one on my left, probably the upper left rib, and it hurt when you breathed.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I fractured my rib.
Well,
That's
I will
how
say,
painful
from
it would have
seeing
been.
Trey Ford in public, putting his arms around fans, taking pictures, he was not in any sort of strain.
Wait, did your daughters get a picture?
No, they chickened out, and then by the time they said they're like, okay, Dad, we'll do it. Because I wasn't going to say anything about anything. I was just going to say, hey, Trey, my daughters want to take a picture with you.
No, I was going to be upset. Like, how did you not send me this picture? But
No.
There was
by the
picture.
time they said yes, he was already in the queue at the Chick-fil-A. So he was in, like, I wouldn't want to bug him or, make him. Imagine if I pulled him out of line to take a picture.
We could have waited till he got his food.
No, then I'm definitely not doing that.
You could have.
Let him eat.
Okay, I'll say this. You could have pulled him out of line, because I'm assuming he was with people.
He was with 3 of his teammates.
You could say, I'll buy your meal.
No. I think Trey makes decent money. I think he can afford some Chick-fil-A.
I was going to say for the picture.
For the picture, yeah.
I have failed on the post-game show, by the way.
Oh, Maddie.
We've been on for 56 minutes. We're almost done. And we had a goal today of getting 10 subscribers between the kickoff and the post-game show. We're at 7 subscribers. If you are tuned in right now to the Green and Gold post-game show and you are on the YouTube and you haven't subscribed to ESD yet, please click the subscription. We want to get to 10,000 before next week, before the Tuesday after Labor Day, because that's year 2 of Edmonton Sports Talk. And we want to be able to go to year 2 of Edmonton Sports Talk and be like, hey, we're at 10,000 subscribers. And today we just had a small goal. We just wanted 10 of you. 10 of you. And we've got 7. We just need 3 more people, please. 3 more subs. And we would be very grateful. And I promise Jay and I won't argue anymore. For today. For tonight. For tonight. For tonight. How do you think the Elks right now
Maddie,
do fare?
It's healthy debate. That's what we do. Healthy debate.
People were looking.
People were looking?
Yeah, well, people waiting for beers. They also were looking when we're just talking normally, but whatever.
Like people were looking at us arguing?
Well, they're also looking after we're arguing, so they were just probably looking. We are also just randomly 2 guys talking into microphones with lights set up, and probably people going, what the hell's going on
I did see
here?
security around. Sandy's still here.
Sandy's always here.
Yeah.
How did he do? I had a great day at the Ponies. I'm not going to lie.
Let's just say this.
I had a wonderful day. I wish I bet more money on a day like today because I was very successful.
I don't know if I can trust Sandy.
Explain?
Should I explain?
Please.
So I gave Sandy $20 when we came in, and I said, "Look, man, let's go. Turn it into something nice, 5 times the money, something like that, And then I gave him the money that I went to go set up at the because we gave it to him early, like before the kickoff show.
Don't put this on me. I did my own.
No,
I did my own.
It's we.
It's not my money.
Get it in a second. Kai.
Okay.
So I gave it to him when we came back to set up, and then I turn around and Sandy's ordering a drink at the bar. I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not good for the investment. And then Sandy, about an hour later, came back and said that, yeah, we didn't win.
On the last race.
On the last race, of course. It's always the last race. So here's what we're going to do. Next week, starting a new trend.
You're not giving it to me.
Namaste. I'm giving Maddie the $20.
No.
He is going to be in charge of it.
No.
We're going to log his bets. We're going to be interactive. I'm going to be sending videos throughout the throughout the game. It's going to be awesome.
No.
What do you mean no? You can't say no.
That's too much. I don't do other people's money. I don't like it. I don't like the pressure.
Come on, man.
Tyler Ramchuk used to be like, hey, tell me, he'd ask me, CFL bets. I was like, absolutely not, dude. No. I'm not going to be the reason someone loses money. I don't like it. Although, and also, this is the worst part for you. I was good today. I was good today. I probably made about 10 bets, and I hit on 8 of the races.
Yep.
Or 7 or 8 of the races. I was consistently, crushing it. Now, I don't bet big. but I'm walking away with some cash tonight.
Yep. That's why I'm
now
you
running.
the $20.
I had too good of a week this week.
You know what? It is what it is. It's fine. I just want to put it in your hands and see what can happen with it. It's not at all. There's no commitment. No nothing.
Pressure. There's pressure. We're 2 more subs away. Sorry,
we are only 2 subs away.
Dustin with the Y. By the end of the Elks season, Matt will be a regular on the horse betting.
Oh, yeah.
You should have seen me today. Today was like almost every commercial break. I got up to the machines.
Yeah.
I was in on it today, but I was hot today.
Maddie, one time I'm going to come in here real early because me and you have this kind of early off, like where we can see who
I used to be here
earlier.
earlier than you, like all the time, and now you're like getting here before me. Like that's like 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, and then I'm going to come in early next week, and then Matt's going to be sitting in the corner with a hoodie up. I won't even recognize him. Then he'll just pop out of nowhere and say, hey, I just showed up. Meanwhile, he's been sitting here for the last 3 hours or 13.
I nailed a win in a place 1-2. I should have had an exactor on it.
Yeah, that's not what you got to escalate to.
I know, that's the scary part is I do this all the time. I do well on win places and shows, although I did hit a trifecta today, but that was on a smaller race.
This will be interesting.
But I do so well on win places and shows that I'm like, let's get into this trifecta exactor games, and I never win. Never win. So it's too risky.
Matty, the third quarter woes continued.
Kicking woes continued.
Kicking woes, wouldn't say continued. But
yeah, I would.
I would say that they came back.
No, he missed 2 weeks ago against BC.
Once.
Okay.
And
he still missed.
And that wasn't...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I know, but
6,
we're talking
7, 8,
at the
9.
time of these misses and when they happen and what point of the game and how important the kick is.
BC miss was a big one, I felt, at the time.
But third quarter woes are here. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to say about it. Let's get into the nasty.
BC was up 7-0. That was the Elks drove down the field to try to tie it, or at that point they were going to make it 7-3, and he missed.
Oh, Tales from the Shop did get back to you. He said, by the way, great show. Don't stop. Liked and subscribed. That's a good one.
I'm still 2 more away from 850. Come on, people. You've got it. There's 57.
JL says, Sandy just took the money to have free dinner. He may have. He may very well have.
Well, how many times have you seen a horse lose or get scratched at the end of the race here?
Do you think?
That was a pretty...
let's just remember, we're in a casino surrounded by people that...
I would just say...
darn near live here.
I would give it to him next week.
No.
And here's the story. And if he comes back with nothing again...
No, because...
then you're skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah, I might just do it myself.
That's what you should. It's way more fun. Although
it's a lot of work.
The one horse race I got on with you, I lost.
It's a gray.
Yeah.
The 10.
How do you think the Elks match up against the Stamps, who lost to the Ottawa Red Blacks a couple weeks ago, but they are 4-1 at home this season. 0-5 on the road, but a very good home team. And the Edmonton Elks on Labor Day, they won in 2021 on Labor Day. Prior to that, it was 2011. This team doesn't have a good record of recent time. Don't care about the name on this one. Just since 2010. Not a good record on Labor Day.
No, it's
How
been
do you think they
time.
match up against the Stamps, though?
Okay. Not great. You know, I think they can run the ball all over the Stampeders. That being said, it depends on who's going to be the starting quarterback. There's a lot of unknowns that will be answered throughout the week that I think will lead to a confidence level as to what the Double E are going to do, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who's better, who's worse. It's Labor Day, baby. I mean, anything can happen.
I'm getting the nachos. Used to have a tradition with my dad and brother. We'd always eat nachos on Labor Day.
Oh, yeah?
I just realized I'll get the nachos here. I was looking at it today.
Sweet.
I'm pre-planning my meal a week from now.
You want to go halfsies? Splitsies?
Well, we could do that. But do you want the Ukrainian meal?
Splitsies.
I don't know if I can
We'll
do
be
that. I don't know if
hand-feeding
I
each
can do
other.
either.
It'd be like the over-under.
It's nothing with Centric Casino. I just don't know if I can do the Ukraine. I can't eat Ukrainian food at other places.
You know what?
I struggle with it.
I do love, obviously my baba used to pinch pierogies.
People know what it means. Like it's, if I go Pitohea, people are going to what are you talking about? So I
know.
You got to anglicize it for the non-Yukis out there.
But there is a difference when they're, they're done up in the butter and onions, and it's just a beautiful thing. You're weird. But I do like cheap Ukrainian food too.
Yeah.
Like give me some chimo pierogies. Give me a little, not that Stanichi's is cheap, kubasa, but give me some chimo, some onions, some kubasa. I saw the what are they? The rolls, cabbage rolls, but they have the red sauce on top. I don't like that.
That's only $10.99, isn't it? No, $9.99.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm just saying we could, little lady in the trap action, me and you. You feed me a nacho, I feed you a kubasa.
The Elks will take on the Calgary Stampeders on Labor Day. They move these times. I got it at 4 o'clock. What a stupid time on Labor Day. It just ruins for people going down. Should be 2:30, like it always was.
Yeah.
So you can get down there, you can watch the game, you have lots of time to get back. But it's 4 o'clock, which means the Green and Gold kickoff show on Labor Day Monday will get going live from here, Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge at 3 o'clock, live on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. You're also welcome to come join us here. Get in on your own Ukrainian platter. Get in on the nachos. The daily special for Mondays. It is the $13.99 loaded burger, which is a beef patty, cheddar cheese, bacon, sautéed mushrooms, lettuce, tomato, pickle, served with your own side. You could also get the cheese and jalapeno smoky, which is the game day special for every Elks game. You could hang out with Jay and I. You could bet on the ponies with us. You could see how much of a degen I'm slowly turning into with the ponies, and how eventually there will be a post-game show where I'm talking about the ponies and not talking about the Elks, and Jay's going to have to wrangle me in.
Yeah, I'll be sitting in the corner hovering.
You could just watch my slow progression into being a full-on horse bettor. That's all here at Century Casino. You don't get that part on the pre and kickoff and post game shows. You don't get that part. You only get that if you come here. We had Liquid Beaver, we had Dustin with a Y, Andrea, Jason showed up for a little bit, and Fergie's Prostate showed up for a little bit as well. So we had a nice little crew. But we'd love to see you here on that Monday. Any final thoughts, Jay, for this game?
Just one that got away again. It sucks for Double E fans, but. Hopefully Trey Ford is back, because obviously that is a mastermind of this team. Somebody that obviously controls the vibes, sets the vibes high, and that means a lot in a team sport. Emotions play a lot to contribute to a win. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But if Trey Ford's not healthy, I don't know.
I'm in a pick'em pool Reed Wilkins puts on.
Yeah?
I didn't get in on week 1. I started week 2. I'm in second place, only 2 points back of first.
God bless you.
I'm good at picks, straight up. Spread, not good at all. Like we said, Elks Stamps. It's the Labor Day Classic. What better way to spend a Monday than here at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge? Coming up tomorrow, it is the Nielsen Show. Dusty, Eric, Zach to come with you here starting at 6 o'clock. Lots of coverage. Yes, Trev's off this week. Lots of coverage here tomorrow on this. Myself, Tom Gazzola, Murray McCourt, and Andrew Walker will be on the hangout. We'll have the lock shop. We'll have the oil stream on location tomorrow. But lots to get to, and it's only one more week. We get through that, then it's year 2 of Edmonton Sports Talk. We failed on our mission today, just like the Elks came up short in their mission tonight. But week in a couple days until the guy to my right and Reed Wilkins. It's the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne coming. It's the EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. We're very close to that. But one more week of 6 to 1 programming of Edmonton Sports Talk, and then we get to 6 to 6. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the Green and Gold postgame show. Elks fall to the Owls 21-17. On behalf of Jay, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the postgame show on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio and on YouTube. Thanks to those listening on the podcast in the future. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. We'll chat with you this week.